What do you make of that? A lot of people just saying, pay for it all, pay for it all.
Student loan debt in this country is now bigger than credit card debt.
There is a growing debate in the 2020 presidential campaign over student loan forgiveness, proposals to relieve graduates from thousands of dollars in.
Hello, sir. I've just been reviewing information and data about the student loan bubble. It's really shocking data. I think we should meet as soon as possible. Can you please come to my office?
I owe $118,000 in student loans.
So you wanted to meet me? Good afternoon. Yes. I want to talk about the student loan at the current moment. I've reviewed all the data, and it's absolutely shocking. So I'm just going to present you a few facts very quick, and then you can present your opinion. So it is going to be the second largest consumer debt that we have at the moment. 44 million borrowers owe 1.5 trillion US dollars. Which is absolutely ridiculous. That does not only affect families.
Is it bigger than the credit card?
Oh yeah, much bigger. Yeah,
really?
I have a graph for you right here. This graph totally shows and represents the urgency of this issue. You can see student loans have increased by 157% since the Great Recession. You can also see the comparison to credit card debt, auto loans, and mortgages.
Now I'm a bit concerned because people are acquiring loans at a very young age.
Yeah.
How is this affecting the US economy and the housing market?
So what I've researched is that it delays the purchase of your first house by 7 years.
So I agree with you, this is a very serious issue, but what do you think are some possible solutions for it?
So after running the numbers, I think there's no way around it. We need to forgive student loans. And then, once we've done that, I think we should think about subsidizing colleges and universities in order to make their tuition fees decrease. Since over the last decades, they've massively increased. And this is an issue we need to fix very, very soon.
I agree with you, and I think forgiving the student debt would definitely be a possible solution. I just see two big issues with it. First of all, I know that a Republican Party would be very against it since I think it was in 2016 we recorded a profit of $1.6 billion.
Yes.
The Treasury. And second of all, the biggest issue is it's unfair, it's unethical, because let's say 2010 you're considering taking a degree, I'm considering taking a degree. I don't choose the degree because I don't want to accumulate a loan or debt. Then you say, no, I'm going to accumulate a loan and I'm going to take my degree. And then arrives to 2005, you finish your degree and you have a debt of, let's say, $60,000, and I have a debt of zero. Is it fair that I pay for your debt, I don't get a private education, and your debt is suddenly forgiven, even though you assumed you were going to pay it?
Good morning, Senator. How can I help you?
As you may have been told, several members of the Democratic Parliament have been rethinking the financing of the student loan debt.
Quite frankly, that message has reached me as well, sir. And I've already asked my secretary to arrange a meeting with the chair of the Federal Reserve, Mr. Marcos, later this afternoon. I'd be more than happy to have you join us. Quite frankly, we have to prevent re-legislation at all costs. A lot is at stake for us here.
Don't worry, one way or the other, he'll be convinced.
Good afternoon, Head of Federal Reserve. Hello. Now, there's a matter I'd like to discuss with you. So rumors have been going around Congress that you want to forgive student loan debts. And I was talking with my delegates, and we came to the conclusion that we're not quite certain whether this is the best decision on behalf of our country.
Gentlemen, I received a very urgent phone call today from my analyst of the Federal Bank Reserve, and we went over some shocking data about this student loan situation. So we discovered that the loan has achieved 1.5 trillion US dollars. We also, and this was for me the most worrying part, that the 40%, I believe it's 40% of the students enrolled in bank loans will redraw their payments by 2023. And furthermore, university prices have increased 66% since 2009. We have to do something about this.
I mean, he is speaking the hard truth. And as hard as it is to admit, the fact of the matter is that often parents have to start saving for the tuition of their kids before these can even walk. Universities have really become degree factories. And us, in the Republican Party, aren't really okay with forgiving the student loan debts. I mean, statistics say that around 63% of Americans don't have a degree. So would it really be okay for them to pay for all of that forgiven debt? Look at the statistics right here. I think these quite clearly show that despite having a university degree, you're not always better off. You can earn up to 1 million more than the average American. But this really does depend on the sector.
Than that, we're talking about people's education.
Gentlemen, the issue here, we have a $1.5 trillion debt, which is essentially paid by the federal government. And even though the lenders here are at a win, the US taxpayers are at a loss here. This is because there are two types of federal loans, direct subsidized and direct unsubsidized. They have very similar qualities. The main differences are the direct subsidized, you need to prove financial need. Whilst in direct subsidized, there's no need for financial need. The only thing is, if you don't repay the original amount of the loan at the given time, which is 10 to 25 years, every time you do not pay per month, the amount you gotta pay back increases with time. So that's why we have such a big economic debt with the student loans.
Shoot. So, sir, have you reconsidered your stance?
Gentlemen, I've been thinking a lot about this, and to be honest, I just think it should be better for the country to erase the student debt. But let's do like this. I'm gonna go get coffees and we can further discuss this matter. Does anyone want a coffee?
I'm good, thank you.
No, thank you, sir.
Just a second.
Action.
Coffee machine was broken again.
Happens all too often, sir.
True. What were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about the fact that you were trying to forgive the student loan debts.
Your decision was, you were about to say it.
Gentlemen, I think that
Are you alright?
that the best solution is
Sir?
Sir, are
You're
okay?
right.
Do you need any medical
Somebody
assistance?
call an ambulance.
Medical assistance.
Tuition fee bubble. The higher education bubble is considered a worrying economic phenomenon to a lot of experts. A bubble is characterized by a rapid increase of prices followed by an eventual contraction. It is caused through a surge in assets prices that is unwarranted by economic fundamentals. What are student loans? Financial assistance designed to help students pay for school-related fees, such as tuition, school supplies, books, and living expenses. There are several types of loans, ranging from federal to private. In this case, federal loan will be taken into consideration, which are comprised of two types: direct subsidized and direct unsubsidized. Both have the same interest rates for undergraduates of 3.76%, ranging from 10 to 25 years, and comprised of a max borrowed range from $5,500 to $12,500. Yet, there are differences. Direct subsidized Department of Education will cover the interest on your loan for at least half of the time in university, while the borrower also has to present a financial need. Direct unsubsidized loans differ because there's no need to showcase financial need and merit. Also, interest rate is capitalized upon being unpaid. Therefore, the unpaid amount will be added to the principal of the original loan amount. How it started. A lot of debt is accumulated through federal loans. The first federal student loans were given out under the National Defense Education Act, a form of legislation that was meant to promote post-secondary education in response to growing concerns about competitors bypassing educational success of the US, especially the Soviet Union. Since its enactment, it has caused growing problems that arise from inaccurate information passed on to borrowers, aggressive and abusive collection tactics by debt collectors, and more. And although tuition fees have increased steadily, it has not been in proportion to an increase in merit. price of tuitions have been rising 8 times as quickly as wages. In the last 10 years alone, university tuition fee prices have increased by a staggering 66%. Spending per student is exorbitant, and this has virtually no relationship to the value that students could possibly get in exchange. One of the reasons for this is the phenomenon that has occurred is due to the rising wages and increasing shortage of highly qualified professors. Current research suggests that 44 million are suffering under the effects of their student debt. And of course, out of those, 18% are in default, causing widespread anxiety and depression among the affected arising from the uncertainty and pressure.